Hello and welcome to the Clock End Talk. That's right, I'm back. I am hosting and Darren is unavailable this week, so I've had to step back into the host seat. We'll just see how we go. Bear with me and hopefully it can't be any worse than the Arsenal have been playing lately. But the man who always turns up, Tony, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just about made it this week. I stayed in Leicester last night and I am severely tired and I've got an early flight tomorrow, so I think this was just about the right time, and if it was any later, I would have had to had a hamstring late fitness test.
We'll get on about the game in a minute, and Schwin's, he's a fucking no-show as usual. He like a solar eclipse, that bloke, isn't he?
Never see him, and it's always dull when you do.
That's it. Okay, now we have lots of questions again. We've also got people who have sent in audio messages. I will try and work out how I can get that shit sorted for you. But there's a WhatsApp group. I think I shared it on Twitter as well. So I've also got questions. So just remind me when we get to that point, Tony, that I've got to open that and read them guys' questions as well, mate. I'll share that link for the group on Twitter. So if those who are listening now are thinking, oh shit, I would like to ask a question, you can join that as well. Okay, on to this game, Tony. We didn't give it much hope, Leicester City. I don't even know where to start. Look, let's get on with the lineup first, because that's always one that we look at and think, what's our chances, mate? Your thoughts on that?
In terms of the names on the team sheet, I was a bit surprised Socrates wasn't in there. I mean, I think everyone got the idea he was going to go to a back five after watching Thursday, so I sort of already got that in my head. I don't know why he favours Kolasinac over Tierney in a back five. Again, he kind of made that evident by playing Tierney in what is seen as a second string game. But I didn't have too many complaints with the names on the paper. I mean, the way they set up was a bit not ideal, but when the team news came out, I can't say I wasn't running around celebrating, but I also wasn't like, oh, fuck's sake, what's he doing?
My own look, and I don't want to be too negative here because it's already type of, we're on a bit of a shit fucking show at the moment. But Pepe, he's seems to be out of favour, and Ozil's back in favour again. What do you make of that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's got against the two of them like playing together. It's weird because literally 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, our only idea seemed to be give the ball to Pepe and hope something happens. And then, like, literally 5 days later, he was dropped and not even coming on a sub or coming on in the 80th minute. And then he's kind of relegated to the second string Europa League team. And it's like, how can you go from being not only the star player in terms of how we're trying to set up, the only player we look to do anything, and then less than 2 weeks later, you can't even get a look in. It just makes absolutely no sense. And Ozil's gone the other way, but I still think it's weird. You've gone from number 1 to number 12 without really doing anything wrong.
Who else we got? Chambers holding David Luiz, yeah. Midfield, you're okay with that as well. Guendouzi.
I think they're the only two options. Obviously, Xhaka was never going to play, and Ceballos got injured on Wednesday. Sorry. So I don't think there was any other real. I mean, Willock, but in a midfield too, you'd expect the two that he favours to play.
I said to you boys, obviously, when I had a little bit of a break, Saka was, he seemed to be getting in this team each week, but now he's out of favour too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a check. I feel like there's a lot of changes for the sake of it, like, whatever's not worked, so let's change it and just keep trying different things, and hopefully he'll stumble across something that works. That's what I kind of feel like he's doing at the moment, which is never great.
No, I find him very strange at the tactics he sets up and the things that he does. Like, it's very odd. But anyway, we'll get onto that a bit later. I know we've seen some shocking performances of football, and especially when we talk about first halves and whatnot. But I think, that'd be close to one of the worst half of football from Arsenal that I've seen in a bloody long time.
I was a bit torn on it because we didn't really try and attack. We had one or two attacks that were semi-dangerous, but then I don't think they were really I wasn't sitting there thinking, shit, they're going to score like any minute. I thought I don't think we looked great. And to be honest, we looked like a team that's not very good going to a top team and trying to get a point. Like, that's no disrespect to Burnley, because I like Burnley, but that's how I'd expect Burnley to set up against a top 4 or a top 6 team. And that's how it was. I don't think we actually played it badly. This is what I was saying with the team, like when we were talking about team news. I disagree with how we played it. Like, I would never have gone with that style, but I think we actually played it okay, especially in the first half.
My thoughts. Look, one thing that was really pissing me off, and you can chime in on this as well, is I thought we gave the ball away way too easily. There was just so many mistakes, and I don't want to single any player out because it was from quite a few players. The other one was, and we spoke about it last year when Emery came in, is the playing out the back, and it was one of them things that people type of ran with, but his obsession with playing out from the back was, I looked at it at half time and I went, I don't know how many balls Leno actually played long. I don't think he did any. And it was the playing out of the back to, the second or third phase is where all of a sudden we lose the ball.
I think the issue we had is, as I said, because we were so super negative, that Aubameyang and Lacazette were almost playing like wing backs, or definitely not like central strikers. So they were so deep that you're trying to play out from the back, but you've got no options because all the players are within such a small space that Leicester only have to commit 3 or 4 players to cover everyone. Like, I think if you got, you watch City when they play out from the back, and I know they're not having the greatest of seasons, but they leave 1 or 2 people really high up to keep the other team's defence deep. So then it leaves loads of space to play into. Where we're so compact, it's just so easy to play against. And it's something I've been moaning about for pretty much since Emery's been there, that we just don't stretch the pitch at all. And I know Leno probably can't kick the ball that far, but at least pretend. Do you know what I mean? Keep 2 players up. So the other team, they're not going to think, we'll just leave him. They're going to have to defend that area. It's just another thing that makes it a lot more difficult to play out from the back. We're not good at it anyway, and then we make it a lot harder for ourselves.
Yeah, well, my major problem is with it is when you've got blokes like Aubameyang, you've got Pepe in your team, you've got Ozil there picking up scraps. You've got fast-paced forwards, and they're just starving for possession. I'm not sure. I haven't got stats in front of me on how many shots on target and things, but I don't think it was many. But I just felt the forwards are starving possession.
Well, they weren't even in striking positions. They were basically playing like secondary wing backs. He has this thing, and I moaned massively when he done it last year against West Ham away. I think it's the first time I really seriously wanted him out, where he plays a back 5, so you naturally should get your width from the wing backs, and then gets the attacking players to play wide as well. So you've got 2 people there getting in each other's way, and then no one up front. It's really, really weird. I've not seen anyone else do it, and I know why I've not seen anyone else do it, because it doesn't work. But he's done it. I thought he'd done it on Thursday. As I said, he'd done it a few times last season, and he'd done it again yesterday. It just makes no sense to me.
No, he hasn't got the players for it. I was a little bit harsh on as I was watching the game, and I'll get your thoughts on Lacazette, because I've written here in my notes, Lacazette, Paul, trying way too hard to score goals. What else do I write here? Just running the wrong lines and always, just seems to be in bad positions. But then in the second half, I'm thinking, well, hang about, was he actually getting the ball in the first half? Because I was a little bit split on Lacazette, actually.
I wasn't. I thought he was absolute shite.
Yeah.
So, again, most people in the ground. I didn't bring up names because I know they listen, but I was talking to people in the WhatsApp group earlier, and I saw Liam's ratings, and I disagreed with so much of it, but no one else had a problem with it. So I said to him, it just must be the difference between how you see it on TV and how you see it in the ground. Because we're going to go on to man of match later, but who I had the man of match, I had them by a mile, so comfortably. And he had them nowhere, not even in his top 5, I don't think. Yeah, and he scored Lacazette half decent. I think he scored him a 5.5. I can't remember off the top of my head. And for me, Lacazette missed probably our best chance. He should have scored.
Yeah, that was early in the piece, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the ball, it was like a trampoline. Usually you roll the ball up to him and he holds it well. in his defence, they were giving it to him where he didn't have much chance of holding it. They were giving it to him in bad position. So it's not all on him. But
that's where I was getting at. Though it was more.
It was bouncing back off him every time. I don't think there was a single time in the game, off the top of my head, where we've played it up to him to hold and he actually successfully did it. And again, they made it hard for him. It's not like 100% Lacazette criticism. But when you're there to hold the ball up and you don't do that at any point in the game, and that's probably your major strength, then what did you do? And I don't think he particularly ran his socks off. I don't think anyone did. Again, that's not a criticism of him. But even if he did, for me, that's not enough when you're a striker and you're pinned with holding the ball up, getting in their box, trying to score goals. Like, just running about, don't cut it.
Yeah, that's what I say. I was a little bit torn because I was very critical of him in the first half, but then it was like, oh, hang on, is he getting the fucking ball though? That's it. Aubameyang.
I think, look, as I said, when he got the ball, it wasn't in the best positions, but he has to do better. As I said, you're there to hold the ball up, and if you're not doing that, I've got to criticise you.
No, fair call. Okay, let's get into a couple of goals because, look, we're going along, and I thought, obviously, half-time, go out 0-0. Come into the second half, and I thought we were actually a little bit better. I apologise, my memory is absolutely fucked, but something had changed in that second half where I thought at the start, hang on, we got a chance here, and then the 68th minute, Vardy fucking gets one in. I think it actually wasn't Arsenal who changed. I think it was Leicester who changed a little bit because then Gray came on in the 60th minute, and that's when I noticed a massive change to Leicester in their attack. Whether they ran out of steam or something as well. Just you know what I mean, at that first start of the second half.
To be fair, I said to my mates that I was sitting with, the game got a lot more open and the goal was coming one way or the other. And I feel like we didn't really create anything, obviously apart from the disallowed goal, which was offside. But I just felt like both teams were coming more open. I think you're right. I think they got a little bit impatient because they wasn't really causing us many problems. So they changed it up, and then that left a bit more space. And it was just a lot more open games. I thought the goal we had conceded was poor, but I think they opened the game up, and for me, that's a frightening thing. They had no fear of thinking, okay, we'll just make this an open game and try and play against Arsenal. Like, years gone by, even if teams beat us, they wouldn't think, let's go toe-to-toe with us. And that they had absolutely no hesitation in doing that. And it wasn't even late. It wasn't like they gambled in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, no,
it was like 10 minutes into the second half. It was like, oh, look, let's get in these guys' faces. And for me, that's a sad state of where we're at right now.
Did you think? Perez went off in the 60th minute and Gray came on. Do you think at that point, I was waiting for it, Emery to change something up, but we waited until the 77th minute for Pepe to come on and Holding to go off, which was. At 0-0, about Gray, like around the time Gray come on, I was calling for Pepe to come on for Lacazette. As I said, I thought Lacazette had a bad game. I did the same.
And I think the game would have suited him. And then even at 1-0, but I wouldn't have changed the shape at that time. I would have gone Pepe for Lacazette and kept the same shape. At 1-0, I thought go to basically make the sub he did, at 1-0, wait until 2-0. And it's not like they were like trying to come on and it just... Do you know what I mean? It was just bad timing. They scored as it was ready. It was like the decision was made after the second goal went in. What's the point bringing anyone on at 2-0? What are they really going to do? Like, the game's gone. We're flat as anything. We've had one shot on target all day, and you wait till 2-0 and change the shape, and it was just I just thought, what was the point? I literally stand there thinking that is just a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. What are you doing? Going back to the goal quickly, do you want to assess that and whose fault was it? What did we do on the 1-0? You might as well do 2-0 as well.
Goal, it was, the first goal, it was neat football, but look, when Doozy's let his runner go again, and we're seeing this every week pretty much, and look, he's improved leaps and bounds in the year and a bit he's been with us, but that's one side of his game that's always been poor. And if he wants to be playing, if we're going to play a midfield too, as we are pretty much every week, he's going to have to learn that. And for me, it's a slight worry that he hasn't improved that, because for me, it's the weakest area of his game. He's improved areas where he was already good, but he's, like they always say, your padlock's only as strong, or a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. and for me, him letting runners go, and it's so annoying because he is fit. He does run a lot. He's got a good engine. So when it's not because he's too tired. I can accept that. You know what I mean? If you're fucked and you can't chase the guy anymore, that there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But
you're fucked.
with him, it's just like he switches off. It's like a mental thing. So I think like it's awareness, and someone needs to look at him for that. I think we got a bit unlucky with the ball going through Torreira's legs as well. I mean, on any given day, the ball goes an inch to the left, inch to the right, it goes off Torreira, and there's no harm comes. It's good movement by Vardy, but they've got one striker in the box. I think it's a bit weak from Chambers. I think it was at the back post to give him that space, because that's your one attention is on Vardy. As I said, it's hard because Vardy's so sharp, but he is the only man in there. Second goal, again, the ball goes through the defender's legs. I just think that 9 times out of 10 it goes in. And I think that's basically what happened. I can't really put the blame on anyone.
It's one of them things. That first, I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but I thought it was a nice little goal, that first one. Like for any team, even if I was a neutral,
it was nice football, but there was mistakes all the way through it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mate, look, you know, I don't really want to dwell on all this too much. Like I could talk about. There was another sub made. Willock come on in the 80th minute to error off.
It was another Y sub.
Yeah.
Literally, like nothing against Willock or nothing for Torreira, but they done it, and I just thought, why? Like,
yeah. No, it was.
What is that?
What's going on? I just wanted to touch quickly. There was a yellow card. Johnny Evans, was that on Guendouzi?
Ozil.
Ozil, was it? What? Yeah, actually. There was
he was in the build-up to the disallowed goal. He smashed Ozil off the ball. Ozil played the ball out wide.
That's right. Yeah.
It out a long time after.
Yeah. There was that one, and then there was a yellow by Hector Bellerin late.
Yeah. To be fair, Vardy chested the ball, headed the ball on the halfway line, and he was in. And it was Chambers, and I was thinking, just foul him. And Chambers didn't, because we're too nice as a club, and we don't do that. And Hector just made sure he took him out. And I love to see that. I praise it every time it happens. I know some people are going, it's a stupid foul. But for me, that's the nastiness we need to get in us. Or not even nasty, the cynicalness. I'm not going to keep up with him in a race. If they play that ball, he's in, foul him.
Yeah.
And Hector did it. Like I said, Guendouzi done it against Palace the other week. I'm all for stuff like that. I was a bit disappointed Chambers didn't do it on the halfway line, and it took till Bellerin done it about 30 yards out. But to me, it was the right thing to do.
Okay, mate. Do you want anything else you want to touch on this match? You know, it's very hard when you lose 2-0. Look, I kind of expected it, but I thought we were very, very poor football. I got nothing else to add before we get into 3-2-1.
My biggest disappointment, and there was quite a lot of people in the ground, like people I know, people I don't know that I was speaking to, and we all kind of said the same thing. I think the biggest disappointment is that the actual players on the pitch didn't play bad, and we've still been beaten pretty convincingly. And so, I mean, it's just all set up and style. Like, I mean, if you go and you can go, he had a 1 out of 10, he was shit. The only player I would say was even like sort of below average was, a couple, but not. Do you know what I mean? There's no one you going, he's absolute terrible 1 out of 10. And I don't. Is that a sign of what we are now, that we play okay and they just expect to beat us that easily? There's some serious things wrong when we've not played particularly bad.
Since you bring that up, and I've just looking through my notes on the game to see if I've added anything else, and I actually added around here. And obviously I think it's questions on Emery later, but has he lost the dressing room? I noticed players, some players seem to be playing for him, and some players just, I don't expect these mistakes from a few players. And then I think to myself, well, what's Ozil thinking? You know, is he thinking, we've got to go out and win this? You know, are they thinking if we drop out of a top 4, there's the end of Emery? You know, there's rumours running around earlier last week that Emery's got one more game to go. Now it's come out that Emery's safe and the board are backing him, which is usually said before they bring in Big Sam or somebody. But do you think the dressing room's split?
As much as I want him to go, I don't think he's lost the dressing room. I do think they haven't got a clue what they're doing. I think he changes it so much that they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. It's like 1 week they're playing in the 4-2-3-1, then 4-3-3, and then the back five, and then someone who's been playing central plays on the wing. Or then like 1 week the instruction is give the ball to Pepe at all times so he can run at someone. The next week Pepe's not in the team, and then you've got to give the ball to someone else who's doing a different job, and it's a completely different change. Like playing everything through Pepe and playing everything through Ozil are so different. Like one of them you're going to give the ball and he's going to run 30 yards and try and beat defenders and drag you up the pitch. The other one, you've got to do all the running because Ozil's going to get the ball and try and find you and keep the ball. And you're not going to go forward as quickly, but you should be more precise. I think just all these changes. I don't think he's lost them in a sense that they're not trying. I just think they're just confused. I think. I don't think in anything you can change. Imagine like going to work and then changing your job every day.
Yeah.
Like one day you're the cashier, next day you're stacking shelves. You're not going to do any of them well because every time you get used to something, you're doing something else the next day.
Changes again. Yeah. Okay, let's get into our 3-2-1, mate. Is someone recording these, or do I have to write? I don't know where I got up to on this 3-2-1 with writing.
Yeah, someone was, but I don't know if anyone's continued to write them down. But I guess if we need to look back at, I think Darren maybe has. If not, we've got obviously all the recordings. So someone's job at the end of the season.
And you reckon we can get Schwinn to do something? I shouldn't fucking take the piss out on him too much because he was uploading the podcast for you good people. So just quickly before we get into 3-2-1, so I'm just going to change things up a little bit because fuck, my memory's fucked. What's his name from Gunners.com? Louis from Gunners.com. He's going to pop on the podcast as well, but he's also going to partnership up with us. It's an app you can download for you good people out there, for the Arsenal fans. It's a good app, actually. It's, and I downloaded it last transfer window, but what it does, it actually gathers every bit of news from everywhere regarding Arsenal. So it is a good app to have. I have mentioned it before, but he's going to partnership with us on the podcast. So I thought, well, he can sponsor this segment with the 3-2-1, mate. So Gunners.com. Okay, who's your 3 points going to?
I thought David Luiz was our best player by an absolute mile. And pretty much everyone in the ground that I spoke to thought the same. As I said, I didn't read through the WhatsApp group because I come out of the ground to like 700 messages and I was going to get pissed, so I just swiped them away.
Yep.
I saw Liam's rating this morning and he gave him, as I said, I think a 5. Like wasn't even in the top 5 and no one questioned it. And I was like, I don't want to tell him he's wrong because no one else has questioned it. But I was thinking, what? Like he drove into midfield. He gave us that option that when one of the centre-backs had the ball, he would come and get it. He gave the ball. I was worried because after about 5 minutes, he strode into midfield and gave the ball away. And I thought he's actually done the right thing. But because he's given the ball away, will he now like shit himself and not do it again? But obviously, he's a senior pro, had the confidence to do it again and again. He drove at them. I think pretty much every chance he had came from a long ball from him. He had one to Aubameyang that he slightly overhit. Another one where I think Aubameyang's touch took him the wrong way and the defender just got a toe in to get it out for a corner. If Aubameyang's touch had gone on his other foot, he probably would have scored. He was the only one that wanted the ball. To be honest, I think if we're going to stay with Emery, I would probably stay with a back 5 with Luiz in the middle because he strides into midfield and does it really, really well. I watched Match of the Day about 10 minutes ago, just before we started recording, just to see what they showed of the game. And they kind of hammered him for doing it. Oh, look at the space he's leaving behind you. But that's when you've got the quality on the ball that he has, that's the point. He strides into midfield, then the other 2 centre-backs tuck in. So it's still like a back 4, and it gives him time to recover to make it a back 5 again. We know he played that role really, really well at Chelsea. And I thought he was head and shoulders above everyone else yesterday. I'd probably argue that he was the best player on the pitch, including them.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. I think Gray really changed the game for Leicester City. He was pretty influential. Mate, I look, funny enough, I don't like Greenwood because I like devil's advocate, but mate, I thought exactly the same as you. I thought, well, he's the only guy who tried something. And he was getting a bit of criticism. I think he had 1 or 2 long shots a goal or something. And he can do that. And I thought, like at the time when I was watching the game, I looked through and a couple of people said, he's having these wild shots again. There it goes over the bloody, over the crossbar. And I thought, he's the only fucking bloke actually doing something. Like, I'm happy for him to have the long shots. So, yeah, mate. Look, I like him. I think he can have stupid moments as well. But yeah, he definitely gets my 3. Who's your 2 going to?
This was harder. Probably Hector. Didn't do anything great. Got up and down really well. None of the trouble really came down his side.
Hector?
Everything was going down the other.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Nothing came down his side. He got forward really well. He was simple. I'm not saying he was fantastic, but when everything came down our left, as in what we were defending, like they literally had no joy on our right. He made some good forward runs. I think he's looked really short of like just fitness and match sharpness in the last few weeks when he's been playing in the Europa League and in the Carabao Cup and stuff. But I thought he looked close to back to normal yesterday. Got up and down really well, made intelligent decisions. I think he gave one loose ball away early on, which was poor. But, I mean, if we're going to start hammering people for giving the ball away once, then no one gets any point.
But Jesus Christ, that could have led to a goal too. And then, if it could have, it's the old, well, fuck, if that had led to a goal, well, he'd be your worst player on the pitch because everybody'd be chock-a-block up him. The one you're talking about was that poor pass back into the middle.
Louise. Well, I'll say into Louise. It's about 5 yards away from him, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with Ozil. I thought he didn't do nothing good. Like, not when I say good, but he was just seemed to be picking up a few of the scraps. He was going forward. He was trying things and trying. I think if he got a bit more ball, it probably would have been better for Aubameyang and Lacazette up top. But yeah, Ozil probably gets my 2 points, and that's so freaking hard for the 3-2-1 when you lose 2-0. So, who gets you 1?
Yeah, probably Mez. Again, I don't think he was fantastic, but everything we done attacking wise went through him pretty much. He didn't really give the ball away, so he kept it ticking. There was no incisive passes, but he made, again, I was watching a match of the day, and he made a couple of really good runs that wasn't spotted, and whoever the pundit was, I can't remember, said like, they're just lacking in confidence and they don't want to play the ball forward, and even in them times when no one else wants to, he's still the guy that will take the ball under pressure or make the forward runs or pass the ball forward. Again, it's one of them, he's doing something different to everyone else, so there's probably people out there that will have him bottom because he's the one that's trying things. But for me, I'd rather see that than people just going backwards and sideways. And I was torn. Again, I was torn between him and Aubameyang because, again, I thought if we were going to score, Aubameyang was the only one that was going to do it. I thought he ran the channels quite well. He caused them a few problems. Not in the ways you do expect him to, but like say that Lacazette chance that came from Aubameyang running wide and getting the crossing. Obviously, the disallowed goal. He was testing them in behind. But then again, I saw what's the guy who's done Liam's ratings. I think he had Aubameyang as the worst. I know he had him well below Lacazette, and I just thought, how?
I'll go through his ratings soon.
What did I see different? Because again, I'm not saying he was amazing, but I thought if anything was going to happen, it was going to come from his running.
Yeah.
But I think Ozil just about stretched him because Ozil just about beats him to the point because Ozil was influential sort of all over the pitch. He was coming deep and getting the ball and just keeping things tidy.
Very hard on a 1 point. Look, I have to just give it. I'll give it to Chambers. And I know that there was, and you mentioned about the second goal on things earlier. Was it second goal or first goal? First. Yeah, but, I'm not going to crucify the guy because too much over that. Because, look, we were very poor. But, Jeezy, I like a guy like Chambers who clears the ball. And if that's probably the only reason he gets me 1 point, well, so be it. But there was, I thought, a lot of chances where he actually fucking cleared the ball. Where, we usually fuck ass around like, put it back into the centre or try and play it out, and all of a sudden we lose the ball and a goal against us. So Chambers will get me 1 point. Once again, it's very hard when you lose 2-0. So.
I thought he had a decent game. I was saying it actually coming out of the ground that most of our better players were defensive-minded players, and we've lost 2-0 and they've had sort of 10 shots on target, and we're still sitting here going, our defenders weren't bad.
Yeah, I know, it's hard, isn't it? It's...
So come out like people. I said I had Louise as the best, and then Hector as the second, and then a few other people had Chambers up and around there. And so we've just been battered, and we're saying our defenders were good. But saying that, on the flip side of that, I thought the defenders on the other side, like, I thought Holding was terrible, and Kolasinac just can't defend.
Look, I was almost... I didn't think Leno had... I don't know, you get 2 goals against you, but I don't think any of them was Leno's fault.
No, he didn't have a bad game.
I
wish he kicked the ball properly, but...
Yeah. But I wonder whether that's his instructions to try and, play it out.
No, he can't. There isn't... That ball to the fullback is always on, and he just can't play it. Like, it's so annoying because Martinez can play it perfectly, but he can't make a save.
Yeah, I know. That's a pain in the ass. You talked about earlier, obviously, Pepe, Lacazette. I was actually calling for Martinelli for Lacazette. I was, with that sub. But anyway, that was the other one. Okay, clockendtalk.blogspot.com. Who did them? Liam. So he's given Aubameyang a 3. Lacazette a 5. Look, and you can obviously read his explanations and reasons there, because the boys, when they do the 3, well, it's not 3, 2, 1, they actually give their ratings. So it's good that they actually explain why. So you can have a read of it and comment on, everyone sees the game different. I probably would have had it Lacazette as a 3 and Aubameyang a 5, but it's not their fault. I starved from the ball.
Any reasonable way how Aubameyang scored worse than Lacazette. Again, it's a game of opinions.
Yeah.
And we've seen it from different angles and we've seen different things. But from what I was amazed when I read that this morning, given I was very hungover and very tired. But I'm now just tired. I'm not hungover anymore and I'm still amazed.
Well, I retweeted it, but I've only reading it now for the first time. Man of the match was Ozil.
According to who? Oh, him.
Liam, sorry. Yeah. Luiz a 6. Torreira. Now this is a funny one because I looked at it before, but like Torreira 6.5. I think Torreira is really struggling at the moment. I
thought he had a nice game. To be fair, nothing spectacular, nothing poor. It was just one of them games.
It's not a month. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting a little bit too much. Okay, that's it, mate. We'll get into some questions.
Just 2 seconds. I want to see who Scored gave it to, but my computer's being stupid.
Marking up a little bit. So right. While you're looking at that, you can get your questions to us on Twitter as well at @clockend_talk. Also, I will share the WhatsApp group. So basically, the WhatsApp group, you can ring up, bloody. You can voicemail and write a question. More so when you think of it, because like you go through the weeks and you think, fuck, I want to ask them boys this. It might not necessarily be about the game, might be something on Emery, or you heard a link about a manager or something. So just throw it there, and we'll get to it. When when we record a podcast. I've got a couple there.
Just looking at who scored, and they give like styles and positives and like strengths and weaknesses of the game.
Yep.
We had no real strengths. Our weaknesses was very poor finishing and giving away a lot of free kicks around the edge of the box. And our only style was attacked really well down the right.
Jesus Christ, fucking hell. Well, okay, so our questions. We've got another sponsorship or partnership, so I don't like to call them sponsorship because we're not doing paid advertising. It's more you scratch my back, we scratch your back. So you downloaded that app? I had a little look at it.
No, I get they DM'd, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they DM the stuff,
in all honesty, I broke my phone. And I've got a replacement, and it's got room on it for about 3 apps. So no disrespect to any of these apps, like WhatsApp and Twitter are more important.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Like if I want to get an Uber, I have to delete something else, download Uber, order my cab, delete Uber, and then get the other app back.
iPhone 11 coming up, eh?
I need to. I don't know what I'm doing. I hate iPhones. I need to get a proper phone though. Like the phone's all right. It's just I've literally got room for 3 apps.
No, that's all right. So I've tweeted them a fair bit. you can download there. That's pretty good insight, actually. It's interesting to see the stats on, refs and things like, I think Kavanagh, he actually, according to you, ref, and don't quote me because on this, I'm pretty sure he favours a lot of Arsenal. I think we've won a good couple of games with Kavanagh, so according to you, ref, so yeah. Okay, we'll get back into these questions because I've got a couple earlier in the week, Tony. Just bear with me, guys, with these questions. As you'd noticed, the last couple of weeks I haven't been reading them. I've got Darren to read them. The reason is because man's had a stroke, so I'm fucking struggling on the right eye. But I'll persevere with it and get into it. Kevin says, so it seems like the majority of our supporters want Emery out. However, what do we go for? Short-term replacement? Freddie? Long-term replacement? Reason for the question is that a few years ago I asked to take over a position that a peer of mine had looked after for the previous 9 years. My response at the time was my boss was, would you want to follow Arsene in his role? Makes a good point.
I mean, the following Wenger was always going to be difficult. Following Emery seems like it's going to be very easy because it'd be quite hard to make us worse.
Mm.
And everyone universally pretty much wants him out, so then you're going to get back pretty much whoever you are. So I think it's probably a dream time to take the job. In terms of what I would do, look, I've been saying for a long, long time, I think Freddie is being set up for that job. I think it's too soon. I would get someone in on an 18-month contract but make a condition that they have to keep Freddie in the backroom staff, like assistant, one of the coaches, whatever, with the role. Because if they're setting him up for it, you've got to keep him. You can't abandon that plan.
Yeah.
However, if that's just obviously,
but it's do you find that weird now, considering last year we were so heavily linked to Arteta? Now all of a sudden, Freddie's
they wanted to go down that mould, and Freddie's obviously worked since then. In that year since, he's done really well with our youth players, and that's where the value is going to come from, seemingly. Because I don't think we're going to be spending big window after window, so we're going to have to make money from sales. And if you're getting these players from Hale End for nothing, and then making them Premier League players that are worth 20, 40, 50 plus million, then that's the way they're going to go. So I think it all ties in. I think that's probably part of the reason why I started saying that I think Freddie's being set up for the role.
Yeah, okay. I apologise for this guy's name, COA. There's a couple of little lines in it as well, but he's left the.
It's Falls of Marble on Twitter. I forgot his actual name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I'm by Twitter, but not their fucking real names. I'm hopeless. But he's left a couple of voice messages on our WhatsApp group, so I'll try and play this and we'll see what he's asking.
Is it premature to say that we're not going to get top four this season? There's a lot of football to be played, and yes, we're some way behind Leicester and Chelsea for the remaining spaces. Nonetheless, there still is time, is there not?
You get that, mate?
Yeah. Is it premature is a bit of a sort of hard question to answer. If someone gave me £10 now and said you have to put it on will we make it or not, I would say no, we're not going to come top four. I'm not saying we can't possibly, but my opinion at the moment, and I'd imagine a lot of people are the same, is that we're not going to make it. So I'm not saying that we can't make top four. I'm saying I think it's unlikely. And is it ever too premature to say it's unlikely to make it? At the first day of the season, when people were saying I think we will make it, was that too premature because there hadn't been a ball kick? I don't think you can answer that question if I was coming here saying it's impossible to make it, then yes, that would be premature. I'm just saying I don't think we will, and you can't have a premature opinion.
Very hard. Look, I'll ask a couple of other questions later regarding around the top four, because when I'll go on now, because when I actually put this tweet up for asking for questions, I knew it was going to be about Emery and whatnot. But, I said, is this the end for Emery? Do you think it's the end for Emery now? But then you see this morning that the board say we back him.
I really hope so. Obviously, I said a few weeks ago now that I thought he would go during this break. I don't know if they're going to do it. As I said, I hope they do. I don't see the point of letting him carry on because we've got 3 in the league. We've got 3 games that we probably should be winning coming up after the break. If he wins then, and then he loses, and then we've got some really hard games after. I don't know, Everton, City. I can't remember the other one. Who is it? Someone else. Another hardish game, and then we go into Chelsea and United back to back after Christmas. Bournemouth away, Chelsea home, United home. So then, if he wins them 3 in a row, do you then believe him? Then, if he loses the next 4, do you get rid of him? Like, I don't get the benefit of what they're trying to do. Or if he goes into them 3 winnable games and only gets 6 points, are you going to sack him when he's on a better run of form than he is now? And then you've also wasted them games because someone else could have come in and got 9 points. I really don't see any benefit to giving him time. Saying that, I've literally not been online at all today, but I did see someone screenshotted the Ornstein tweet saying that. Like,
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I don't think they would pull it out there if they were. I don't think they would say, "Oh yeah, we're speaking to other people." I'd be amazed if they haven't at least spoke to other candidates. I think it would just be gross incompetence if they haven't. Also, that statement really pissed me off, saying they won't be budged by noise. Like, if us fans are just noise now, and I don't just mean match-going fans, I mean every fan. If we're just seen as noise, to me that seems like they see us as an insignificance, and that's really fucking pissed me off. Are you on mute?
Sorry, mate. I've got another couple of questions. So Viniak?
He said just call him V because he knew you'd fuck it up.
Oh, yeah, fucking... Yeah, VV. That'll do. Did I say that? Did I fuck that up somewhere?
Anyway. I don't know, but I just know that he said just say V.
Okay. Anyway, we've got a voice recording from him.
Hi, what I'd like to ask is, do you guys think that, does the club at this point of time have a vision regarding, the brand of football that we need to play? Saying that, we need to be a top club and compete with, the elite teams in Europe and all of that is fine. But do you think that, there's a thought process within the boardroom and the club that, we must play this kind of football or this brand of football in order to achieve all of that? And, this is the type of player that is an Arsenal player where, we recruit certain types of players and this is the strategy to go about it. Or,
you get that, mate?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a personal opinion. I don't like when boards get involved with style because then things would never change. And you don't want them imparting, like saying, getting Mourinho in, for example, and telling him, oh, you have to try and play pass and move football, which he's never going to do. Or if Mourinho was the best candidate, saying, oh, we don't want him because he doesn't play the Arsenal way. I always laugh when other teams say that. Yeah, oh, he doesn't play the West Ham way or the whoever. And I just think it's embarrassing. What is the way? Like, people have now taken the Arsenal way as pass and move and Wenger ball, essentially. But before him, I mean, barring interims, before him was George Graham, who was not anywhere near like pass and move, and it probably wasn't even possible on them kind of pitches. I think if you play in any one way for sort of 3 or 4 years, then everyone thinks that's the way. I really don't want a board. I don't know if they do. I don't think they do, but I really don't want a board that tries to impact the style because, let's be honest, that's the manager's job. If the manager thinks his group of players are going to play better in a slightly different style, you don't want them to be pressured by someone who isn't a manager and has never managed a team. Like, let's be honest, Raul and Edu know a lot about football, but they've never been in that position where they have to pick a style. So why should they be overruling a manager who'd ever appointed for that? So again, I don't know if they do that, but I'd be very disappointed if they did.
Yeah. Liam also says, hi, gents. Similar to the following on a bit of what's his cunt's name? COA. Anyway, tall as a marble. I hate that fucking name. Fuck it off.
I'm sure he was on here before.
I just got him a COA.
No, I mean, you had him on the podcast before. I wasn't on.
Did I? Oh, fuck no. Okay.
Yeah, there were 2 in a row, and he one of the 2. I can't remember.
His name. Yeah, his name's Dale now. Okay, so Dale's. I was wondering. At what point do we start to worry and panic, says Liam, about top 4 ambitions, and maybe instead of switching to Europa League as our primary opportunity for Champions League football, it feels odd and I don't want to worry so much in early November. But we're already 8 points behind with a very difficult Christmas. Yeah, staring at us, I can't help but feel it's already daunting task. Interesting to hear your thoughts. Apologies, didn't have time for voice to do the voice thing. Can I just add quickly, and just before you answer that, I seen a thing today. 12 weeks, match day 12, is it?
I have no idea.
I think we just finished. So it's a thing saying match day 12, and already the Premier League is tied up, and we know the winner. And I thought,
we know the winner. I personally think we know the top 4. I think we know at least one of the teams going down. It's mad.
It is. It's not real good. It's not real good.
I think the top 4 will stay as they are. Maybe not in that order, but Liverpool will win it. The top 4 is them 4 teams. Norwich will go down. So there's so little to play for, and we're literally just into November.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but
I wonder whether they're looking at it, or the Premier League are thinking like, I know salary caps I hate, but it's so like.
You look at it. Chelsea didn't spend this summer. Sort of didn't spend. Okay, Liverpool and City do, and Liverpool didn't, but I mean they've accumulated over the years. Leicester are not big spenders; they're not high wage payers, so I don't know what a salary cap would make any difference. Norwich chose not to spend. Yeah. They signed anyone, so it's not. I don't think it would make any difference. Look, the two biggest spenders are Tottenham. Yeah, they're flying.
Fucking hell.
But the two biggest spenders, Russ and Tottenham, we've gone backwards. So a salary cap what would that have changed?
No, it wouldn't have done nothing. Anyway, answer his question.
To answer Liam's question, I always say this. I say this every year. Get through the group, worry, and then you're probably going to find your first round of the knockout stage of Europa League is against some ridiculous team from a farm in Mongolia. So you can forget that tie. And then start worrying about it when you get a tie that you're going to have to play your first team in. I say this every year. To be honest, I think it's difficult in the group now because we've got the 2 hardest games left, and we only need 1 point, which we should get. But get through the group, then the Europa League done until February. Hopefully you get, as I said, I think we got Barté last year and we end up losing the first leg. But in general, you're going to win that over 2 legs, so you can play a weekend team.
We couldn't beat fucking that Victoria team.
Beat them over 2 legs.
No, I suppose if you do that, over 2 legs, yeah.
But yeah, so I think I said this last year, I said it the year before. That's the way to go about it. Reassess in March, and when you start getting the ties that, as I said, you're going to have to start playing your first team players, and you look at where you are in the table. If you're 12 points off 4th, then you go full steam ahead with the Europa League. If you're fighting for 4th, you probably stick with that front and try and balance it as best you can. To be fair, I think it's something Wenger done really well in his last year. Well, his only year in the Europa League. I think he got hammered because we came 6th in the league because he thought we can't make top 4, so he basically fucked it off and was playing reserve teams every week apart from Aubameyang because he couldn't play in Europe, and obviously was very unlucky to lose to Atletico and not get into the final. I think that's all you can do is just assess it in March or late February.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't. We just spoke quickly about. I mentioned Victoria. I didn't talk about it because I don't want to fucking relive it. I think we've had a kind of 2 weeks anyway, so I didn't even want to touch on that. Let's move forward. Hakon Larson says, "How did Emery got the job after the last few games? He has been happy with the way we have played." Hakon also says, "If Emery stays until the summer, our club hasn't changed at all. It's better to have a caretaker instead of playing this negative football." And then we continue. He says, he asked another question about Ornstein's comments, that Emery has the full backing of the right path, etc. So, yeah.
Yeah, again, you're assuming that Ornstein's either been briefed or guessing.
Well, he done a lot of guessing in the summer. Let's just clear that up. It seemed to me like he was guessing quite a bit in the summer.
Yeah. Well, he said out and out we didn't bid for Pepe. It's ridiculous. They can't afford it. But even if they have briefed him, they're not going to say, yeah, we're talking to 10 managers. This Emery guy's fucked. Because you can't print that. Because if you don't then get one of them targets, then it's going to be like, oh, Emery's going to be sitting there thinking, well, these cunts don't want me. Like, they don't trust me. So I don't really read too much into that, to be honest.
How many times have you heard a club come out with a statement like that, and the next week the fucking manager's gone and big fat Sam's in there?
Yeah, as I said, you can't come out and undermine the manager just in case you get stuck with him.
Well,
it's just
payout wouldn't be much.
I think there's rumours that Arsenal were struggling to afford the payout because it's not just him. You'd imagine all these staff would go with him.
Oh yeah.
So I reckon it'd be about 15 million. But for me, even if that is the case, it's still a small price to pay. But then you'd have to pay a signing on fee of a new manager if it's anyone with half a name and their wages as well. So I mean, look, it's not cheap, but that shouldn't be an issue. In terms of how he got the job, he got very lucky. Not very lucky. He done very well at Sevilla and won 3 Europa Leagues. PSG wanted to get someone with European experience on the cheap, so they went for him.
Yeah.
He obviously had 2 years there, fucked up the first year, won the treble in the second year, didn't do well in the Champions League, so they've let him go. And he fitted the model that we were looking for. He also cost nothing because he'd already been sacked by PSG, which probably did pay a fine. If you look at the list of the people we went for, pretty much all of them were unemployed. Arteta's compensation wouldn't have been much because he wasn't the manager. Then you had him that was unemployed. Legri was unemployed. There was pretty much all of them. Like, there's rumours Vieira and Henry were on the list. I know that to not be true, but even if they were very, very cheap to get or unemployed. So it seems like that was one of the criteria, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. What else do you say? If Emery stays until the summer, our club hasn't changed at all. It's better to have a caretaker instead of playing this negative football.
Well, we said this last week, that this is now... We judged Raul and co. in the transfer market and said they'd done really well and everyone was giving them pats on the back. They've completed that task. Well done. Success. Tick. Now this is your next role. And now they're judged again. Like it said, you're only at a football club, you're only as good as what you've done recently. No one at the end of Wenger, when we were coming 6th and losing to all sorts of clubs, are going, oh, yeah, but the Invincibles were great. Everyone was like, he's not good enough anymore. And that's the unfortunate thing with football. Okay, you've done good things in the summer. Now you've got to continue to. You can't just rest on that. You don't. When you go to work, you don't do a good job on Monday and take the rest of the week off.
Exactly right. Exactly. People aren't going to remember back in summer when you're playing this style of football and the managers. Yeah, you don't even know. Like nearly 2 seasons in, we still don't know what fucking Emery gets up to. MAA Gunner says we were most efficient when playing 3 at the back with Ramsey. Fuck mate, get over Ramsey, brother. And Granite as the 2 midfielders. Couldn't we replace that with Granite and Willock? Oh, okay, I should have read the rest of the question.
I'd argue that was under Wenger. I think the back end of Wenger, we were best playing the back 5 with them 2. I don't think Emery ever really done it because he didn't want Ramsey in the team at the start, and then when he did, he played him quite high up to press high. So I think it'd be... I don't know if that would suit Emery's mould. And he's got a real problem with Guendouzi because he has been our best midfielder by quite a distance, but I don't think he really suits any of the styles. Like, he doesn't actually complement any of the players he's playing with. Like, you're playing with Ceballos and neither of them are defensive enough. If you're playing with Torreira, it covers the defensiveness, but then there's no attacking intent, so you have to play Ozil. If you play him with Willock, then again, none of them are defensive enough. He's got a real problem with Guendouzi. And the problem is Guendouzi's been good, so you kind of have to play him. I don't know what the answer to that is, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we went out and you've left Torreira out of that conversation as well. Like,
no, I said Torreira and him.
Okay.
It doesn't provide enough attacking, so you have to play Ozil.
Yeah, it's hard to find the balance.
I think you can find the balance with other players, but then they've not been as good as Guendouzi. I think this is not a criticism of Guendouzi, but I think Guendouzi's causing a problem because he's playing so well.
Yeah.
Like, well, he has to be. But then it kind of is a mismatch, whoever you put him with.
He goes on, says maybe Enrique is going to be the one that saves me. Our attack costs more than 200 million, and we have a negative goal difference. We weren't really this bad last season. What has changed in the for the side? What did he say? Oh, what's changed? For this drop in form, obviously. And he goes on. Can you give any reason to why the board would keep Emery, other than avoiding financial costs?
Well, the financial, and if the right candidate, whoever they want, is available. He obviously mentioned Enrique there. There's rumours that Raul spoke to him, whether that's official or he just knows him from his Barca days and he's flicked him a DM. Just sent him a voice note or something. You never know, but there's rumours they've spoke about it. So, look, these they won't sack him and put no one in place. You don't really see that in the Premier League.
Well, I still ask the question: who's available apart from Jose? This rumor about Enrique pops up. I totally forgot that his daughter is sick, and where's his head at, and the family's head. Sorry, what is she?
Dead.
Hey,
she died.
Oh, fuck me, I'm fucking okay. Sorry, I didn't know that. So, but yeah, so and things like that. Is he even ready to come back to managing?
No, that's what I said when someone brought him up last week. As I said, I think it goes beyond football. But I mean, you originally asked who's available. I'm not saying these are potentials, but as you said, Enrique is technically available. Mourinho is available. Allegri is available. Arteta would presumably be available. Freddie would be available. So there's, whether we agree that they're good options or not is a totally different thing. Them 5 names are available.
Mm.
But they won't, as I said, they won't have someone, they won't sack him without having someone agreed. Because imagine they sack him and they think, someone will be done tomorrow, and then that gets delayed and you end up going like to Freddie at the last minute. Oh yeah, shit, manage this game. Because we don't really want you, but Enrique ain't signed yet. And it just looks shambolic.
I wonder if the board are thinking as well, Bayern Munich, and I know Wenger's been heavily linked there now, but I wonder if they're thinking, no, I don't think he will either, but I wonder if they're thinking, Allegri or Jose or so, they might head there, so we better act very quickly. I don't know whether that's playing a bit on their mind as well. That they might miss out on good potential.
As well about Allegri and PSG, which makes Tuchel available, and I know Arsenal liked him before. Again, the old regime, no, but you don't know if any of that has carried on to the current situation. Yeah,
it's tough. Mourinho would be, who says this? Sam says Mourinho would be hugely. What's that?
Do you want me to get it up?
Yeah, mate, I can't see it. It's fucking blurry as fuck. Sorry, guys. Mourinho would be hugely appointment by Arsenal board, but I don't see many better available options at this stage. Do you think Mourinho would accept it to end season with option? I'm so sorry, Sam. I really can't fucking see it.
Mourinho would be a hugely divisive appointment by the Arsenal board, but I don't see many better available options at this stage. Do you think Mourinho would accept it to the end of the season with the option of another year? Also, thoughts on Eddie Howe? Is he seriously a possibility?
Well, Darren mentioned Eddie Howe, didn't he? He was mentioning them couple of... But Bournemouth aren't really doing much either, are they?
No, I think people just like that when they came up, they were one of the first teams to come up and actually try and play football rather than like park the bus and just try and spoil their way through the league. I don't think he's particularly improved them since they've been in the league. He was just brave, and then they've kind of stuck at a level. I wouldn't go near Eddie Howe personally. In terms of Mourinho, would he take it for a year? Probably until the end of the year, probably not. I think he would take it for 18 months with an option. So Sam's talking about 6 months and then an option. I think 18 months and then an option he would probably take.
Well, I imagine he'd want to get back into management.
But I don't think he'd do it for 6 months.
Yeah,
just his ego wouldn't take it.
Brendan Rodgers.
That's the issue. That's one of the issues with Wenger and Bayern. They want him till the end of the season, and he won't take that. And I don't think they'll give him a longer contract.
Yeah, right. Did Brendan Rodgers with Leicester City? Was it a 6-month deal at the end of the season?
No, they took him from Celtic.
Yeah, Yeah, but he come in as a bit of a caretaker, remember, last season, didn't he?
No, he came in midway through the season, came in like February, but not as he signed a proper contract.
Oh, it wasn't a caretaker role. Okay. Yeah, right. So, he's going to cost money to come too.
He would not leave Leicester.
I laughed, and Darren mentioned it last week, didn't he, on the podcast? And then I see some bloody reports coming up. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. Sandeep, he's asking why the board, why do the board still back Emery? So we've answered that.
Yeah, he said, is this the first time you're looking forward to the international break? He is. Emery has taken the joy out of watching Arsenal.
International breaks are always a kind of a thing. Like, at least
I'm sitting here now. I'm thinking I don't want to watch Arsenal anymore. So bring on the international break.
Yeah.
Give it 2 days, and I'll be like, "What is going on?"
You say that now, and then then when it's there, it's
You flick on the TV, and it's like Moldova versus Kosovo, and you think, "Oh, just bring back the Premier League. I don't care if it's Watford v Norwich. It's better than this."
I've been watching lots of the A-League because obviously now I'm not working night shifts. So it's fuck all on, So the A-League's not the most glorified football, so it's a struggle. But yeah, I try and support it. Sandeep, he's talking about Granite. I see is his career over at Arsenal? From the press conference, it seems Emery may not play him, or the player also wants to move on. What do you think about? Do you think he's going to go in January?
I think Arsenal. I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot if we have, because his value will be next to nothing because of the situation. Not next to nothing, but it'll be a lot less than it should be. Look, I think Darren could be right. I think it all depends on his frame of mind. I have no doubt that Emery would pick him. He said something the other day where he basically kind of half hinted that Xhaka won't be ready for this game. I don't know the exact words, but reading between the lines, it looked like he would have liked to have used him. But we don't know if Xhaka said, what, fuck them. And to be fair, that's what Darren said, that he thought straight away, the day after it happened. Darren said, I don't think Xhaka will want to play for us anymore. So I think a lot of this is probably in Xhaka's hands, not in Emery's, which again is another weak position to be in. You can't be dictated to by a player. And this is nothing against Granit. Yeah. No player can tell you when they will and won't play. Well, they shouldn't be able to. But that's again, it's nothing against Granit. But if he's refusing to play, essentially, they should be fining him wages, because that's what you're paying him for. You're paying him as a footballer. Look, I'm not saying this is the case. We obviously don't know. But if he is saying, look, I don't want to play anymore, you can't. You've got to punish him.
Well, two things I was thinking the other day. I've seen Ozil emerge the last few games. Obviously Granit's taken a backward step. You see lots of questions coming through, and even the media, and a couple of things about Emery going and Emery being sacked and things. Are these players biding their time? Like, if a new manager comes in, then where does that put everything into perspective? All of a sudden, Granit's, or has he lost the fan base and the fans?
Well, yeah, I think Granit's issue, if it is on Granit's side, as I said, I've got to see saying this, we don't know if it is. But if it is on his side, I don't think a change in manager will help that. I think it's the fans, and unless a new manager comes in and in these conferences says, look, let's really get behind him, put our arms around him, he is a good player, he offers us X, Y, and Z. I want to use him because he has these skills that will suit my team. Let's get behind him. If it's a manager then that's the only chance. But as I said, it could be that Granit thinks these fans are bellends and I don't want to play for him anymore.
Because I think Ozil probably, new manager changes, will probably stay, and he'd probably start every game.
Yeah, I think Ozil wants to stay anyway. He said he likes London. He's settled here. Fans in general don't really give him too much stick. There's loads of stick on Twitter. In the ground, Ozil gets as much praise as anyone, if not more so. I generally don't think if he's playing, even if he's not playing, I don't think he wants to leave. And again, we have to mention, because someone will say it, he's also earning a fuckload of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you kind of stop mentioning it now because it's been said every time you mention his name, but you have to say it, otherwise someone will go, oh, he only wants to stay for the money.
I said to my wife the other day, we're watching the Leicester Arsenal games about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I said, see that bloke there? And she said, yeah. I said, he's on £350 a week.
£1,000 a week.
That's £350,000 a week. And she goes, and all he did was send you a signed fucking letter. Which I do appreciate. Sushant, he says, Emery in or out, you positive Gooner. Oh, he's talking to Darren, but Darren is actually not on the pod this week. He is a positive Gooner, Darren. So he's saying to Darren, Emery in or out, you are positive Gooner, but have seen any positives under Emery in 2019. For all of you, he says, we have invested 120 MN this year, and it seems we have regressed a lot. And number 2, he says, I found Ozil anonymous in the second half. It was due to poor team or due to him or combo?
This is the problem with... I'll go on to the other bit of the question in a minute, but this is the problem with Ozil's wages. Because, he was nowhere near the worst player on the pitch. But because he was the highest paid, when things don't go well, Ozil was quiet. What about the other 10 that were worse than him, or the other 8 that were worse than him? Again, this is where money doesn't equate to performances. It's just...
Well, he's the guy you look at, isn't it? You want
questions.
Yeah, but he's the guy you look at. You want to do something, and people watch the game and think...
Yeah, but we've got a guy in front of him that couldn't hold the ball, and the guy behind him that couldn't give him the ball.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree. But remember last season, people... Let's say you're watching a Chelsea game and you're always knowing that Hazard, he was your danger man. He's the guy who's going to create something for this team. And I think that's what that's what they expect from Ozil.
He should create stuff, but he can't do that without the ball. What do you want him to do when they've got a corner, put the gloves on, catch it, run out with the ball, dribble past 11 players and then square it to Aubameyang for a tap-in? If they can't give him the ball, I don't know. I can't believe that his name is on anyone's lips after that game.
Oh, no, I think I give him 2 points, so I'm probably going to get very major criticism after this show.
It's just, I just don't get it.
I thought he was...
We know he earns a lot of money, but when there's 8 players worse than him, I don't care what he earns. Stop, just stop. The other part of the question about why have we regressed, I honestly think because Emery changes so much and we've got more options. And I think it's actually a bad thing because now he's got more things to tinker with. Last year we didn't have too many options, so we just played to fullbacks that tried to get to the byline and cut the ball back. Now we've got Pepe that can beat players, Ceballos supposedly can thread things through, Willock's a willing runner. Torreira's apparently...
Emery? No,
yeah, but I think it's actually easier when you've got no options because you just done the one thing you could do. I think now having options has fucked him more. He's changed it to a back 2 or back 3 or a back 5 or back 4, wing backs, sitting deep, wide men.
He doesn't know what to do.
There's too many options. As I said, when you've got the options, you can't do too much. It's easy. You just do the only thing you can do.
That's half the problem. He's got us a couple more questions. This is Sushant. How many away goals has Laka scored in 12 to 15 months in the PL?
I know in 2019 he's got 1.
Okay.
Against Huddersfield. I know I think last season he got 5. 2 were away at Fulham. 1 was at Cardiff. 1 was at Huddersfield, who went down. I was talking about this earlier, actually. I can't remember the other one. He got 5 away goals last season, and 4 of them were against relegated teams.
I was noticing that he hadn't... They say he hadn't scored in the last 6 games or something? I don't know. So.
Tottenham maybe was the last game. Obviously, he's been out injured and whatnot. He's played bit parts, come on, or the guy come on as a sub or come off.
Yeah. Okay.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he's not scored in 6. But I think there's a bit of a kind of asterisk next to that.
Okay.
He's a waste form. I know people go, he's not. It's not. His game isn't only about scoring goals, but his away scoring form is a worry. Because scoring 5 goals in away goals in a season and 4 of them against relegated teams is not good enough. Scoring 1 away goal in 2019 so far against a relegated team is not good enough. I know he does other things very well, but
he's there to score. He's there to score, isn't he?
Amongst other things, and he does them other things well, but you can't get away with not doing that. Again, I don't want to talk about Ozil, but when Ozil doesn't get assists, people hammer him. They don't go, his fans, Schwinn, go, but look at what they've created and look at this, that, and the other. But with Lacazette, for some reason, you're not allowed to say he needs to score more. He does need to score more. But you say that and they go, but what about his hold-up play? But when you say about Ozil, what about his chances created? Oh, you're just a fanboy. Like, it's not. I suppose it is a criticism, but it's not meant as that. I think any sane person will realise Lacazette has to score more goals.
Well, and that's it. When I looked at, we bought Lacazette, and even when we're looking at Lacazette, everyone knew we needed a striker. But so I expected a striker that's going to score goals. So then we go out and buy Aubameyang to. Well, Lacazette, I guess, obviously, because he wasn't scoring goals. So all of a sudden we got these two brilliant strikers that we just can't even get the fucking ball to. It's crazy. But yeah. What do we got? Something else here. Emery has been at fault for the most. Just some players need to look at in the mirror. Also, basic errors they're making. The distance, by the way, I presume BW is by the way. Players.
The distance between players are too much. We look so disjointed in attack, no patterns.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yesterday, Aubameyang and Lacazette were basic. It was weird. It was like Ozil was playing central, and them two were playing wide of him either side. But then when Leicester fullbacks get forward, which they do very well, it was Aubameyang and Lacazette that were tracking them, and it was almost like they were playing like wingers with wing backs behind them. They highlighted that on Match of the Day, how deep Lacazette and Aubameyang were at pretty much all times. It was an absolute mess.
Red Custodian, he's talking about Ornstein's tweet, which we're all aware of. We've touched on anyway. Halls of Marble, he's saying, is Emery just a Sevilla level manager? His style is self-described, shows...
Million.
Yeah, so... I don't know. What level are Sevilla?
Look, they might scrape into the top four one year. Like, they've done well. It's not a shock, but they've done quite well to do it if they get there. It's not comparable in the Premier League because we have a big six that if any one of them come in the top four, it's not really a shock. And then if, say, an Everton came in the top four, everyone would be amazed. In Spain, they don't really have that. They have the big three in Atletico, Real and Barca. And that fourth spot is probably there's 4 or 5 teams that could do it. And if they do it, whatever one does it, they've done well, but you're not like, wow, well done. Yeah. It's like you're the best of that bunch. It's different. Like I always say that the league is split into mini leagues. And their mini league makeup is just different. As I said, they've got the big three and then they've got, like, say, Valencia, Sevilla... Villarreal. Villarreal. Well, a few years ago, yeah, but not at the moment. Same as Bilbao a few years ago, but not at the moment. There's sort of 3 or 4 teams that are fighting for that 4th spot.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
And we don't really have that, so it's hard to compare them to an English level. But I don't know. It's difficult. He won the league with PSG, and everyone's going to say anyone could do that. So we don't know. He's done the treble with PSG.
Well, he would have started somewhere before he got to, like,
he got Almeria promoted from the Spanish Championship essentially, and then I think he done pretty well in the first year, stabilised them against all odds, and then obviously got his move up. He went to Russia and had a disastrous time, got sacked in the dressing room. Then obviously Sevilla won 3 European or Europa Leagues. PSG, horrible first year, quite good. So, I mean, he didn't win the Champions League, but won the treble, which is pretty much as much as you can ask. Had a horrendous loss in the Champions League, beat Barcelona 4-0 and lost 6-1 away. I think it's difficult to say what his level is, to be honest. It is clear he's not up to the task at Arsenal at the moment, and I think that's probably as much as I can say. I'm
going to go through these very quickly because it's pretty much a lot of the subjects. So EPL Canada, Guna Boy 88, Romy, he's there, and then Gunnar J, he finishes up talking about Emery's press conference. So FPL, is it? Oh, fuck, I struggle to see that anyway.
That stuff that you did.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fantasy Premier League. Yeah, I fucking haven't done that in ages. Fuck, I better get onto that shit. He's talking about even if Emery somehow turns it around, he's shown enough to prove he's not the answer to be the long-term coach. I'd prefer Lundberg to take over now while the owners select the best option. He's also talking about Eric Ten Hag. Is that how you say it?
Ten Hag.
But
I think it's not, to be fair. So
okay. He's saying bring back Burkamp. Promise whatever it takes. Gooner Boy saying
just to go on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, just to go on that. So he suggested have Freddie short term while you're waiting to get like a proper manager in. Like I say proper, an experienced manager in. That it will never happen that way. Like Freddie will not be a 2-month option while you're waiting. I don't think Ten Hag will be available anyway. And Burkamp, I don't think will ever have a job as a manager or an assistant because he won't fly.
He's like a scout over at Ajax.
I don't think he's a scout. He's got some role in the club. Actually, I'm not sure if he still is. He did have some role in the club. I'm not 100% sure if he's still there, but it'll be a role that doesn't need much travel. No.
Okay. Gooner Boy talking about changes needed. Emery's done. He does say Eddie Howe would be a good appointment. Don't know. Look, Eddie Howe, don't get me wrong, I don't mind Eddie Howe, but they're not doing real well, are they? It's like Sean Dyche, burnt. I know they've only got dealing with the tools they've got as well. So, but at what level do you put them on with a Mourinho or an Enrique? Managers like that's been tossed about. And Allegri, is Eddie Howe around on Allegri's form or? You don't know. Like, and he's Eddie Howe. You give him the Arsenal job, he fucking might even win the league. So it's a risk and it's a gamble. I think.
I wouldn't take.
I just don't think I would. I like a gamble, but that's a big gamble for me. Who's this bloke? Yong fucking Wang Wong? Fucking, I don't know what that cunt's name is. Fuck him, not reading his fucking dumbass question anyway. Romy, he's only replying to old mate, I think. Romy says people consistently say Kolasinac is good going forward, but he is terrible and non-existent in the build-up. I think he's going to agree. Is this you? Through the midfield, he just doesn't want the ball under any circumstances other than the overlap. So who did KT play 90 minutes midweek?
So why?
Why?
It is a weird one. We've been saying for a long time it's impossible to play out the back with Kolasinac because he just flicks the ball down the line at all times. You could, as I said, we again in the group chat on whatever day it was, Wednesday, we're like, that means Kolasinac is playing on Saturday. For some reason, he's decided that he's a better wing back than Tierney. I don't know why he's decided that. Look, Kolasinac, he does overlap well.
He crosses well too. He puts some good balls.
He's not at the same level of Tierney. He does. I always say he just puts the ball in the area. The problem with him is it doesn't matter if anyone's in that area. He's going to put the ball there anyway. Look, Aubameyang was offside for the goal, but it was a good ball. I wouldn't be picking him. I don't rate him. Well, again, you're accusing me of asking this question, so
it sounds like you. What do you make of Emery's press conference? I didn't see it, so I can't make much of it. But Gunnar J says also, do you think he meant what he said, or was he just taking a piss? Did you catch the press conference?
I was very intoxicated.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look. Sorry, Gunnar J. Darren usually says he watches the press conferences. But
to be honest, I probably have seen, if there's been some outlandish quotes, I probably have seen it, but as mentioned, hungover, tired. It's funny, I'm just trying to get it up on the Arsenal website, and the first thing is they question him about the game, and he started with "Good evening." That's brilliant. We can be disappointed with the result, but not with the attitude of the players. I think he says the game plan we prepared for. We started the first half by having chances, by controlling the game. We had one, and we started the second half too in the moment like we wanted. They created some chances too, and when they scored the first goal, that's when we lost the opportunity to do something in the match. So I don't know if he's essentially saying if we go 1-0 down, we've lost the game, which for a team that doesn't attack, that's probably not ideal.
Okay. No, that's right. I'm just looking here. I skipped this thinking it was a reply earlier. Oh, Yong Ho. That's his name, Yong Ho. Oh, that's what I'm going with. He says, I think Arsenal need right now a strong, tough manager like Diego Simone or Simone. Tactical, brilliant like Allegri. So I don't believe Luis Enrique is the guy. My shortlist would be Allegri and Arteta. So because I asked, when I put the question Fred out, well, who would you replace him with? So he's saying Enrique or Allegri. Look, I'm not against Enrique, and a couple of the boys have asked me in the WhatsApp group.
He said he doesn't believe it should be Enrique. He said Allegri or Arteta.
Sorry, my fucking eyes are fucked. Allegri or Arteta. Look, you all know I'm not a fan of Allegri. I think he's a tinker man like Emery. Some people, look, he's probably the best of the bad bunch who's available, in my opinion. But I'm so far gone with Emery. I'll take absolutely anyone. I get that. A lot of people are. You'd try anything. You'd try anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've just said I wouldn't take Eddie. I don't want Eddie Howe, but I'm at the point I prefer him over Emery. Just a different. We just need to change. Sometimes you just need to freshen up and new ideas and solid plan and in life things come to the end and unfortunately for Emery he's never really had a start, but it's come to the end. Like it seems like nothing he can do now will turn it around. I think he's getting desperate. As I said, he's just trying things because it's like, well, if I do something different, it might work. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So he's gone the opposite of that. He's not insane. So he's trying different things and expecting results to change. But football's not like that. You can't just change things like from one day to the next and expect it to just work.
Yeah. Nah. But look, my biggest thing is Enrique. I don't think Enrique, unless he's changed a bit, like he's more in a trying. I've probably seen him more at Barcelona, but obviously playing attacking style football with Barcelona,
He got them,
based on the players.
Them a lot more defensively solid at Barca.
Yeah, but the players he had, you had to go.
No, but he came in like they had MSN, which was the probably one of the most feared front threes ever.
Yeah.
But he did make them defensively better while still playing.
Attacking. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right there. Roma, when he was at...
saying we should have it. I'm saying that people often say about his Barcelona phase, well, he had MSN. Yeah, he did. Yeah. You can't... I can't lie. Like, you know what I mean? You can't change that.
Yeah.
But they were defensively better after he came in.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. Yeah. So, look, he might work at Arsenal. I don't know how headstrong he is. That's my only other issue is he the bloke to, like stamp his authority? I think
there's rumours.
The more I think
there's rumours he fell out with Messi. He tried to get him to defend more. But look, a falling out can be bad, as in it was with Emery and Neymar, but it can be a good thing. If he's demanding more of his players, okay, you probably don't do it with Messi because he's that good, you just tell Messi to go and play.
Yeah.
But it's never a bad thing to demand more of your players.
But that's my issue. If you've fallen out with Messi, who's probably the best player in the world, okay, I'm not going to get in the Ronaldo Messi thing, but one of, if not one of the best footballers you'll see in this generation. Now, if you're falling out with him, I tend to worry at where you're going to head with other players. That's my only issue at a new club.
It's a difficult one though, because you can't. It must be difficult. Obviously, none of us have been in this position, but it must be difficult to do a team meeting where you're going on about defensive shape. We need to improve defensively. We've got to do this, this, and this, and then say, but Lionel, don't worry about it. Even though that's probably what you should do, because you just see play. But it must be very difficult.
Yeah, it would be.
You imagine sitting in that room and drilling everyone else. You've got to stand here. You've got to move this 2 yards here. You've got to get in line with each other. You've got to do this and that, and then go, Leo, just go and have a fag, mate.
But Emery had the same issue with Neymar. And then he come to Arsenal and had the same.
Fully fell out.
Yeah, and then had the same thing with Ozil. Well, we can only presume. He just,
Instead of falling out can be a positive thing. If you're demanding more of your players, as I said, Messi is probably the wrong person to do it to because he's not going to defend and you're not going to drop him. Even if he doesn't do, even if he completely ignores you, you're not going to drop him because you can't drop him.
No way.
But I have no problem with someone demanding more. Look, my problem with Emery and Ozil is he was just being completely unrealistic. Like, we want you to... He was doing it, we want you to run more, but then all stats show that he was running more than anyone else. We want you to do this, and we want you to make tackles on the edge of our box. And you're thinking, I get demanding more from the players, but again, what next? Do you want him saving penalties because we ain't saved a few of them for a while? There's sensible demanding more, and asking Messi to defend more is not out of the question. As I said, you probably don't do it because you just let Messi do what he wants, but if you fall out over that, that's not ridiculous. Can you press a little bit? If you say to Messi, I want you to double up at left back, then you think you're being a bit of a dick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know.
It's falling out with people where it can be positive.
Yeah.
And we don't know if he's from what we hear, he fell out with him in the right way, but we don't know if we're just hearing positive PR.
Yeah, you might look plenty of good points there. Look, I'll probably get a bit of criticism here, especially from Darren. I'm probably leaning more towards Jose Mourinho because I've seen what he can do defensively, but I will say not as long term. Probably 1 to 2. Oh, it won't be 1 year, but won't be. See out the rest of this season. Come maybe January, if Emery lasts that long, and then obviously give him a go next season. And because of what we've seen over the last, could say 2-3 seasons, is our defenders. They just don't know how to defend. And he would clean up shit like Mustafi, clean up these crap fucking, and then we signed Holding. Chambers has come back. We've signed David Luiz. At what? That's and this is the last three years. Obviously, Socrates, David Luiz, Rob Holding. Who else we signed in? Tierney. Who else we signed there? Last three seasons. So we've tried to get our defence sorted. Can't be the players. It just can't be.
Yeah, look, the argument against Mourinho that I get is that he's very unlikable, and I understand that. I really hate that he's finished, he's past it. I watched the Man City Liverpool game today, and Mourinho's in the Sky studio, and you listen to him talk, and you're like, you really know a lot about football. And it's obvious they all should know a lot about football. But do you know, sometimes you listen to Wenger talk, and you feel like you could listen to him all day. Wenger's got that aura where he just sounds like fucking majestic. And I was actually listening to Mourinho today rather than just thinking you're a complete cunt, which is what I usually do.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the stuff he was saying and talking tactically. Are you talking about Liverpool? How to defend against Liverpool? And I was thinking, you know what you're talking about.
They're up there, mate. They know their shit. And that's what people don't.
He was talking about how to defend because they were saying, that front three is basically unplayable. And he said, look, every time I went to Liverpool with a team that wasn't as good as them, I made sure there was no gaps between my fullback and the centre-back on that side. He said, because Firmino is going to drop deep anyway. So then you've got Salah and Mane as the problems, and you don't want them getting between your fullback and your centre-back. And someone said, it's not easy. And he went, no, it's not. But he said, that's the way you've got to do it. And yeah, they're a good team, so they can't hurt you. And he said, look, I got sacked here. I lost 3-1 the last time I was here, and I got sacked here. But he said, that's the way I done it, and that's the way I had success. And he said, if you look at 2 of Liverpool's goals today, okay, one was a long shot. The other 2 were both one from Mane, one from Salah, getting between the fullback and the centre-back on that side. And he said, look, it isn't easy. But you have to prepare for that because that's how they score the vast majority of their goals. And when he said it, I thought, that's fucking obvious. I've never heard anyone say it before.
Mm-hmm. No, that's...
Do you know when you hear something and you're like, hey, it's bang on, but never heard anyone come out and say, well, this is how you do it.
Yeah, that's right. So for me, look, they listen to the media. They see him in the media. He plays the media well. He always has. You know, but I just think we just need that type of manager to fix this shit up. Like a manager to fix it.
I don't think he would be my first choice, but I would be happy if he came. To be honest, I've said that before. Like I still think he's got a lot left to give. Like I said, you know, there's some fans that just really don't want him, and I would have absolutely no problem with him. He just wouldn't be my first choice.
Hey, mate, I think we've done this podcast to death. We've got an international break coming up. I'm going to sit down with Darren, I don't know, maybe next couple of days or next week or something. We'll do a Gooner to Gooner. Got a couple other things coming up. I'm waiting on Craig to write some fucking article. So, yeah, we'll get some stuff out to patrons as well over the international break. And you're going away, mate, so enjoy that.
Yeah, sunny Spain.
Sunny Spain, nice. When will be no idea. Fell off the face of the earth, and I'll be back yakking to somebody over the next week.
Anyone will talk to you.
Anyone will talk to me because I'm not doing much fucking else at the moment. So. Okay, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Cheers for having me.
And thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for downloading, and yeah. Stay safe, and we'll catch us next week. Good night and goodbye.